Hi there, my name is Fowle and I'm going to be doing a video on my CRPS story. The reason for this is because Complex Truths, which is a CRPS charity based in the US, are trying to raise awareness and money to help people with CRPS and to basically help the healthcare system to deal with CRPS better. I mean, it's probably going to be my only YouTube video, but I thought raising awareness to something that I suffer with would be the best video I could make. It took me 5 years to get my CRPS diagnosis, so I want to make sure that people who develop CRPS in the future will get quicker and more efficient treatment than we do now. So my story starts when I am 9 years old. I wake up one day in year 4, so 3rd grade, and I'm suddenly just in pain. There's no reason, I didn't get an injury, I was just suddenly in pain a lot. Obviously this is 10 years ago now, because I'm 20, so I don't really remember that much from that time. I do remember very vividly my swimming teacher shouting at me from across the pool saying, "Oh my god, you need to stop walking," because I was walking just on the ball of my foot. And she said if you kept doing that, you would basically ruin your calf muscles. So she was basically lecturing me on what not to do. I just remember that's one of the only things I remember from that time. So I was in pain for about a week before my mum was like, maybe we should take you to a physio. The physio said I had plantar fasciitis, which made sense because I had pain under the arch of my foot, and I still do. So, I mean, you can search up what plantar fasciitis is, I'll put a link down below. So they put me on lots of stretches and basically told me not to do any physical activity like PE, which I was really happy about. But they did say I could keep swimming, again, really happy about. I was competitively swimming from the age of 9 or 10, and I trained at my highest I trained basically every day. Once I trained twice a day, which I would never do now because of my hair. So the diagnosis of plantar fasciitis kept until they said it might also be Sever's disease, which I'm still not really sure what it is. Kind of irrelevant to my life now. What this hair's doing. Oh. And then when I was 12, 11, 12, so year 7, 6th grade, we knew something else was wrong. It wasn't getting any better. I was still in a horrific amount of pain. So we went to a specialist who said that I have rheumatoid arthritis, or juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, because my dad has the correct immune deficiency disorder, or autoimmune disorder, which meant that it was genetic, so it could be passed on to me. So they basically didn't really know what was going on, and they diagnosed me with this condition that I didn't want. It was horrible. They didn't even take a blood test to confirm. They just kind of assumed the diagnosis rather than confirming it. And then they put me on methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy agent. Oh, that was my mum. And I was on that for about 3 months and when I was 12. And during this time, it actually did basically nothing. It was a horrible, horrible drug. I had to take folic acid as well as weekly injections of methotrexate and then bi-weekly blood tests to make sure that all my cell counts were at the right level, because methotrexate reduces your white blood cells, so obviously it weakens your immune system, and it was horrible. My mum had to give me the injections every week. We had to take methotrexate on holiday with us because I had to have them every week. It was a horrible drug, and I lost a lot of friends during that time because I struggled to make it to school. I was in a wheelchair and on crutches, so people didn't really understand, like, I hadn't broken my leg, I hadn't hurt my foot, I had hurt my foot. I hadn't broken my foot, so people didn't really understand. I lost a lot of friends, which I think is fair enough, because I didn't really know what was going on and I didn't really deal with it very well, because I wanted to be normal and I wasn't normal, which it was really difficult as a 12-year-old girl to go through something like that when you're trying to deal with all the hormonal changes and your changes you're going through your body. And I was also having this weird drug that was changing my mood and who I was. But after the 3 months on methotrexate, they realised that it wasn't doing anything, so they basically were back at square one. After that, they said that I didn't have rheumatoid arthritis, and I was basically back to specialists who were saying that I had like a bruised foot, and they put me in one of those boots, they're like little booties, that people get when they like sprain their ankle, which was pretty general. I mean, it didn't do anything, it just reduced like the pressure I had to walk on. It wasn't until I was 14, so year 9, we decided that enough was enough and we would try again. We found a doctor who diagnosed me with CRPS, and that was kind of the start of a new chapter. It was like I wasn't in the dark anymore. There was a game plan, which is something I didn't have until this point. So they diagnosed me with CRPS in about the October of year 9, so I was 14. I'd had pain for 5 years by this point. It had taken them 5 years to get the diagnosis, and since that point I've been able to, I mean, it wasn't easy, but I am here today. The diagnosis was the easiest part, I would say, in the journey, because after that I had to go through a lot of psychotherapy, so like pain, talking about my emotions and how I felt being the girl with pain all the time, and I had to have mindfulness, hydrotherapy, occupational therapy. I had to basically be taught how to learn at school in pain. I had physiotherapy, osteopathy, and had acupuncture and stuff like that. I went to the hospital, I would say 3 times a week. So my attendance for school in year 9 was 43%, which is pretty awful. Not a lot of it was because of the hospital. A lot of it was mentally for me. I would get a lot of anxiety about not being in school, so what was the point in going if I was so behind already? But after I had a 2-week intensive stay at the hospital in the February of year 9, sorry, and they basically were like, you know, you need to go to school, you need to get your GCSEs to be where you want to be. And after that 2-week intensive stay, where they basically kicked my arse in gear and made me like run on treadmills and stuff, I managed to get my attendance back up to about 80%, which is, I mean, a miracle. So I would say the easiest part was being diagnosed. The hardest part was the year after, where they basically were like, you need to basically get your life back on track as much as possible. And without that 2-week stay in Oxford, I would not be where I was today, definitely not. So I have a lot to be grateful for. So since the point of leaving the hospital, I've managed to try to get my life back on track. I got my GCSEs, which were really difficult, and I got the grades I needed to go to grammar school, which was where I wanted to be, so I could get to where I am today, in Birmingham. It wasn't easy. I felt very ashamed of my condition when I went to grammar school. I didn't really want to tell anyone. It took a while for me to tell people that I had something wrong with me. I was ashamed to tell literally anyone. I told my friendship group and I told my head of year, and they were the only people I felt needed to know. It wasn't until I had a flare-up at a grammar school where I felt I needed to tell people so I could have help in exams. And when I told people, I felt like I'd taken a step forward. I ended up having rest breaks, so I had 25% extra time for rest breaks in exams, which took a lot of the pressure off me, because when my pain is really bad, especially during stressful situations, I can't read and I can't write properly because I can't concentrate on anything but my pain. So having extra time to concentrate and to just take a breath and take a minute just to read or just to get myself together was really, it was almost just peaceful for me to be able to have that extra time. So I had that for my A-levels. I didn't actually take any of them, but to know that they were there was really, really nice for me. I ended up not needing them. I got the grades I needed to be where I am today. And again, I didn't really want to tell anyone at uni, but because you live with strangers, you have to tell them, because, you know, sometimes I'm crying out in pain and I can't walk anywhere and I can't go out clubbing, so I needed to tell people. And the university has been amazing with my condition. They've put so many strategies in place for me to help me get to my lectures, and I don't go on field trips if I don't have to, because I do a very, very field trip related course. I mean, you have to go on geology field trips to do a geology course. So I would say my university has been really helpful for me. It took me a really long time to realise that I shouldn't be ashamed of something I can't control. In fact, I should be raising awareness of my condition, because there are a lot of people. There's 1 in 3,800 people who have CRPS, and it's a big number. When you realise how many people must have it, then you need to be able to raise awareness. And there are barely any people who know about my condition, like healthcare workers who don't have a clue. There are, you know, you don't go to a GP surgery and say I've been in pain and it gets worse when my stress is worse. They don't automatically think, oh, CRPS. They must think they go through every single thing and then it might be CRPS. So me being open and raising awareness for a condition so many people have, I think is a massive step forward, not only for me, but for the condition as a whole. I'm not ashamed anymore to say I have it, which is how everyone else should feel. It's taken me 5 years, I would say, to get to this point, and I think everyone should be okay with saying they have chronic pain as well. We need to raise awareness, we need to raise money, and we need more therapies. You know, I'm lucky I've got my DRGS lined up. I will again put the link below to that. But we need more research, we need more people on this. We need the NHS, and I mean, I love the NHS. We need the NHS and we need American healthcare to understand it better. We need people to see it. It is highly undiagnosed, but we need it to be better understood. So I hope this has helped some of you to understand roughly what CRPS is, and I hope some of you will take this into account and then go down below and see how you can help, how every single person on this planet can see how bad it is and how much it needs help. So if you would like me to do another YouTube video, comment below. If not, just let me know your thoughts and your CRPS story. Thank you.